What's up, y'all? It's Kymmy Coco, your host of Connecting the Dots podcast on Innovative Black Station. Welcome. We're back. We have a guest today, but I almost feel like she's not a guest because I see her all the time. She's a great woman, very powerful. Everybody, welcome Mina.
Hey, y'all. How are y'all doing today?
Mina is amazing. You're going to love to hear what she has to say. We're going to chop it up about politics and the movement and everything with Mina. Fire, sister. Dom is back. Dom got married.
Hey, how the girls be doing?
She put a ring on it. And I got my bag from the wedding. I'm going to go through that later. Should I go through that now? You guys want to see what was in Dom's goodie bag for his wedding?
Love, you know what I'm saying? Silent,
a little something,
a little something, you know.
You know, I'm going to spare y'all and not chew on these because I do have the munchies, but I'll spare y'all. I'll spare y'all that. So one day we're going to have to talk marriage and stuff with Dom. Sure. And hopefully the wife will come. This episode is sponsored. Now, look, if y'all want to be on here sponsoring us, like Just Us Collection, shout out to Just Us Collection. They sent us a package. My shirt, colored only, is from Just Us Collection, and they have some powerful shirts. Most of the themes are from the movement, so check them out on Instagram, Just Us, and also Mississippi Candles. So Mississippi Candles. I always say Mississippi Candles, but it's So Mississippi Candles. So make sure you check out that site, SoMississippiCandles.com, right?
SoMississippi.com.
SoMississippi.com. SoMississippi.com, and the So is SEAUX.
X. Oh,
all right, so let's get into it, everybody. So much has gone on, y'all, and I feel like it would take me all day to catch up on what's going on. So I'm gonna go to Mina. Mina, I could talk to you all day because you know everything that's going on off the top of your head. We're gonna plan and strategize right now and tell everybody what we think their next move should be. Mm-hmm. But right now, let's just start here locally.
Yes.
What issues are we facing? What do we need to keep our radar out for? What elections are coming up? Just tell me what's going on in your world right now in current events.
Yeah. So it's a municipal election year. Mm-hmm. So we have mayors and city councils and all these people running, but the problem is that no one pays attention to that. We pay more attention to the president and the vice president and who's in Senate, but their decisions don't affect us directly like our city council and mayoral candidates do. And what I'm seeing right now is a lot of crime. There's a crime spike in Atlanta, but in reality, there's a crime spike in the whole country.
There's a crime spike in the whole country, but let's take a step back and look at things in perspective.
Yes. So why is there a spike in crime? Like, let's look at it from that angle. People who have nothing to lose have everything to gain. And that is what this past year has done. It has made people homeless. It has made people jobless. Kids aren't in school. So when you have nothing to lose, you have everything to gain. And these kids or these adults are going out and committing crimes because they don't have food to put on the table and they don't have anywhere to sleep. So the number one problem in Atlanta, specifically in my eyes, is affordability. People who live in Atlanta, who built Atlanta, right, and who work in Atlanta and have given their lives here cannot afford to live in the metropolitan city anymore because it is so expensive. The average rent of someone who lives in Atlanta in a one-bedroom apartment is $1,475.
For one bedroom?
For one bedroom.
Wow.
But also, renters say that you should make 1/3 of your income to pay rent. That means everyone has to be making $36.78 an hour to be able to pay that rent. Minimum wage is nowhere near that. The city of Atlanta employees get paid $15. So they're not making that. So now we have an affordability problem. But we also have a job opportunity problem. There are a lot of opportunities in the city, not just for CEOs and executives and people with 10 degrees. But we have jobs that need to be done. Our roads are broken. We have infrastructure problems. We have a responsiveness problem, and no one is addressing that. So we can talk about tough on crime, but it didn't work in the 90s, and it's not going to work now. So there's no need to go back in time. If we're going to be a progressive city, then we need to talk about progressive issues and policies. So I think without affordability, we can't address any of the problems that this city faces.
So then, to address the problem of affordability, we would be looking at our local government
Yes.
to provide opportunity for affordable housing.
Yes.
When these buildings are built, when these lots are bought up, when they put property on this land, if they don't specify that they are for affordable housing, then it's just left up to the vultures to snatch it up.
Yes.
And what we're seeing a lot of now, as far as real estate in Atlanta, is hedge funds are buying
Yes.
up the homes.
Yes.
You know, all these huge investors are buying up the property, and so the prices are going up.
Yes.
So what do you see, or who do you see locally that is addressing that issue?
Yeah. Well, first off, affordability, there is so much new development. You like right outside, you'll see
Yeah.
so much construction going on. You'll see this, but the problem is the average median income in Atlanta is $86,000. But the average black family makes $23,000 a year. So there's already that big gap.
Because when I see them building homes, I see coming soon development starting
Right.
at
300.
300,000,
Yep.
400,000.
Exactly.
And I'm just like, that many people make enough money to buy these
The
homes?
average median income does, but most people don't. That's the thing. When you have an average, you're taking the bottom and the top and you're combining them. So you also have executives that are making millions of dollars a year.
Right.
But then you also have people that aren't even making $30K a year. So now you have that gap. But then also the city of Atlanta gives out funds and gives out tax breaks to these developers. If we take that AMI down and say, right now it says 80% of that AMI is affordable housing. So 80% of 80,000 is not nowhere near affordable. But if we bring that down to 50%, right? So that means if you make around $40,000, that is what the affordable housing is going to look like. We need to bring that down, but also hold these developers accountable. When the Beltline was extended, they said this portion of the Beltline is going to be affordable housing. No one held them accountable, and now those houses are going for $400,000, $500,000.
In Vine City.
Yes. Y'all saw that Beltline connector, the West Side Beltline connector?
Right up the street here.
Yep. So we're not holding these people accountable. And I march, and we march together.
Yes.
All summer.
Yes.
We've been marching before that.
Right.
And the number one thing we preach is accountability.
Right. Because if you don't doing what you're supposed to do.
Yep.
Right.
Bye. It's time to go. And I'm very wary of politicians. I don't trust them in any capacity. But one of our own, Alfred Chivy Brooks, is running for office.
Yes.
Yes, he's running a post one at large. That's a citywide seat. He's running against Michael Julian Bond. Now, when people hear that name, they think of his father, Julian Bond. Mm-hmm. But he's nothing like his father.
Right.
Michael has taken our taxpayer dollars, went on a private jet, and sat on a private beach for 7 days saying he's at a conference. That's who Michael Julian Bond is. Michael Julian Bond has been in office for 22 years. There should be a time limit. If you came in with saying that I'm going to do this, this, and this, 22 years is enough for you to do it.
Right.
And he's not doing any of that.
He's basically had a whole era.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you guys something. Some of these positions go under the radar for years of not doing anything because people don't know what they're supposed to be doing.
Yes.
So that's what we got to get rid of. That's what we do every week. We come and we tell you guys what's going on to make your own decision about who to vote for. But sometimes some positions are so under the radar, you're just recognizing names and faces and you're like, oh, that's a politician. But little do you know, that's the person you're supposed to call when XYZ is not done. And these people work for you.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And I think Chivy, before I even when he announced, he dropped a platform called CARES. And he said these are the problems that are plaguing our city. And as someone who is running at a at-large seat, a citywide seat, I should be able to address that. Connectiveness. We saw how many kids could not even attend school because they did not have internet connection. We live in a modern society now. Internet connection is a necessity. Affordability. But most of all, responsiveness. If my water line breaks, I should be able to call my city councilman and be like, hey, this is what's happening. I should be able to call 311. But how many people watching, or even you got, like, how many times have you utilized 311 for anything?
Yeah, I don't.
Exactly.
I have never. I think once for a pothole.
Yeah.
311 is
Yeah.
operable 9 to 5 on weekdays. Is that the only time y'all have crises?
No,
Right.
usually it's after that.
Yeah.
What's the position that Shivy is running for?
Atlanta City Council post 1 at large.
And so, what exactly is post 1 at large?
So for post, there are 3 posts. So you have your city councilman, that is like in your district, and then there are 3 at-large posts. So for post 1, you have to live in district 1, 2, and 3, but you represent the entire city. And you campaign in all the entire city, and you're like that person to go for guidance from other council members.
Okay.
So you're that like leader. So
Right.
right now it's Michael Julian Bond, it is Matt Westmoreland in 2, and another person in 3. So there's 3 of them. But we need to get these positions known, because a lot of people that I talk to don't even know who their council member is, let alone their at-large council.
And that's a problem.
It is, because they affect us more directly than Joe Biden ever will.
Shivy is very active. He's 37. He teaches economics, personal finance at Charles Drew School in Clayton County.
Yes.
He is a resident of East Atlanta. He founded Teachers for Good Trouble. He's a member of the NAACP Atlanta. He's also a member of the People's Uprising. He is very active in the community. I see him all the time out in the streets working for people. I would look into him, because apparently the person that's there now is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And if you don't know who a person is outside of the Gold Dome, then you won't know what they are inside of the Gold
Definitely.
Dome. So make sure you look at the person's activity in the community, what their interests are. Obviously, this man is about the people, because you can tell from what he's been involved in.
Definitely.
You mentioned all summer, all summer,
All fall and
all
winter.
fall. You guys, I applaud you. Hannah was here. I couldn't say enough about her. But you two and everybody else that was out there all summer protesting SB 202,
Yeah.
SB 581,
HB 531.
HB.
It's okay. I have to
531.
do that thing with my
So
hands.
Senate bill and House bill,
Yes.
which SB 202 was passed. Kemp signed it. Georgia is now being sued
Yes.
because apparently what everyone's been screaming since the beginning, since they drafted this crap, they found out that, you know, this kind of looks like they're trying to stop black people from voting. You think?
I mean, it's if you're attacking specific things that the black community does to get voters out, if it talks like a duck, it walks like a duck, it's a duck.
Not to mention, in 2018, during his tenure as Secretary of State while he ran for governor, which is a whole nother story, Brian Kemp had the audacity to hold a fundraising event where he spoke of, and Rolling Stone had a plant in there, and they recorded it, and they wrote an article about it in 2018. When Rolling Stone gets involved and shows that you're corrupt, you should have been woke here in Georgia and not voted for him in the first place. Nevertheless, they recorded him saying, you know, if they get, you know, in his accent, if they get down there and they get the absentee ballots, they like those absentee ballots. So we can't have. He told y'all what he was going to do.
But the funny part is absentee ballots were made by Republicans for Republicans.
Republicans thought that they were getting over, but when someone beat them at their own game, they got pissed.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what's going on in Georgia. Like,
That's
in a
exactly what's
nutshell.
going on in Georgia. That's exactly what's going on in Texas. That's exactly what they want to go on in Arizona. That's exactly what they want to have go on in Pennsylvania. In any swing state, they want to stop y'all from voting. That's how powerful your vote is.
Yes.
I'm not even going to go back to November and tell me how foolish y'all sounded back then about y'all wasn't gonna vote because Ice Cube said that or whatever, and I ain't gonna vote because, you know, young black Kodak or whatever his name is, you know, he need to get out of prison. I'm not gonna go there because that's over with. I'm gonna forgive y'all for that.
Kim is like that petty family member that brings
Yeah.
stuff up, like,
I ain't gonna bring it up.
Nothing. I'm not gonna let y'all forget because just like you said before, like people forget.
Yeah.
People forget all the distractions they were putting out there and how they were trying to show you and move you around and make you think your vote is not as powerful as it is. Do you see what they're doing?
Yeah.
Now do y'all get it? What we've been saying for the last 4 years on this show?
Yeah.
So now what? Brian Kemp has gone on record to say that this is just a Democratic witch hunt. You know, the shit they say that, you know, it's just Stacey Abrams, who, by the way, didn't even say she was running for governor again yet. She's not made that announcement.
She hasn't.
So they blame her for everything. You don't even know if she's running or not. So they're saying Stacey Abrams has bullied everyone and twisted everyone's elbow all the way to the Department of Justice, though?
It was clear when they wrote that bill on, it was that day of the 12-hour protest, 5:31 a.m. to 5:31 p.m.
In the rain?
In the rain, oh God. But that night when they wrote that bill, they were trying to pass it right then and there. So then
They tried to hurry up.
Yep, get it written.
And bring it to the governor's office.
96-page bill. But little do they know, they didn't even read the bill. So when we went inside, we were like, hey, this bill says this. They were like, what bill? Huh? Oh, okay. You didn't even read the bill that you're about to co-sign and get it to the governor. So it was a 30-day long protest. I mean, every single day outside of that Capitol, inside the Capitol, outside, governor's mansion, hell, even Fulton County Jail for Park Cannon. So, but when they signed the bill, what a lot of people don't know is that the version Brian Kemp signed into law was not the version that the House and Senate voted on. So between the hour of when they voted on it, Park got arrested, right? When he was signing it. Between those 2 hours, there was a switch made. And the copy that went to Brian Kemp's desk was never the version that was voted on. And you can't do that. That is tyrannical.
Yeah.
You cannot sign up legislation into
That's
law.
like super underhanded.
Exactly. So most people don't know that. So he was already going to get sued. And then everything with Park happened. And suddenly, I say that was the stupidest move that Brian Kemp could have made. This could have all been swept under the rug because nobody was worrying about 30 people outside the Capitol every day. But now you arrested a black woman for knocking on a door. And you brought national coverage to your own front step. If that had never happened...
He's not the smartest, but I think we've talked about that.
Never.
We've talked about that on this show before. Like, when all the smoke clears and you really just see what's going on, he's not the brightest crayon in the box.
And even his friend Trump, I hear Trump had some pretty fun things to say about him
So
yesterday.
Trump doesn't support him anymore. So his candidate now for Georgia is Vernon Jones.
Yeah. That's a whole right.
So
that's everybody's reaction.
So all 4 black people that voted for Brian Kemp now, he wants to vote for
Vernon Jones.
Right.
So
I'm sorry, Vernon Jones.
He's like a wrestling character or something. Like he's
the
just
whole
so outrageous.
everybody, all the blacks for Trump, they're all like fucking clowns.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
it's
like,
just like a joke,
I
and
wish-
it's not like I'm being like that because, of course, I'm not.
Yeah.
Just like if I was a Martian and I came to this world and I didn't know nothing, like I would just notice that they're just weirdos.
Yeah. He was like, I wish people cared about the death of Jesus Christ as much as the death of George Floyd.
So that's the new thing.
Yeah.
They're like, why is George Floyd being made into a martyr? So let's talk about, okay, I could talk about Brian Kemp all day. Mina, please, you have an open invitation because we could do this all day. You guys damn near slept out there for all this time. They passed the bill. It was so emotional. Another person that's running for office here in Georgia that I need you guys to keep an eye on because she's running for Secretary of State is B. Nguyen.
Yes.
And B. Nguyen is such a powerful woman. She is for the people. Let me tell you a story about B. Nguyen. We were at the protest. Mm-hmm. She was at the protest. She was putting herself out there as a representative for her district, like, thank you guys who voted for her because she is doing her job.
When they tried to arrest us inside of the Capitol the first
She
day,
stepped
she
up.
put her body on the line. Her and David Dreyer put their bodies on the line. They were like, we're not, because remember, they tackled Park Cannon way before, like, the first day of our protest.
Right.
So at the end, when they arrested her, she knew it was coming. But the first day when we walked in, Dante was there and Griggs and everybody. And we're like, okay, like, where's this happening? And, you know, we didn't bring bullhorns or posters because you can't bring it into the Capitol.
Right.
So we're standing
And you
there.
guys were dressed up that day. Some of those days, you guys got all dressed up.
Signy Die Day and Crossover Day, just to, like, show the power. Like,
Right.
we're not just some, like, random people on the street. Like,
We are invested.
we read the bill. We know what is happening. But B put her body on the line, and she did it multiple times. Even when the Tea Party came outside, and Georgia State Patrol decided to protect them, the ones with the flags and the guns and everything, and we were just standing there. We had kids with us, babies. Kylie was out there that day, Dante's daughter, and they decided to protect them. B walked up and put her body on the line.
She approached me and said, after she heard about the picture, she signed the bill in front of a picture of the plantation my family was on. She was like, do you want them to take it down?
Yeah.
She was like, if you want me to, I will go in there and tell them they need to take it down.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Thank you. Like, no, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, it's done. Like, that picture is now going to go down in history as the day he signed this bill.
Right.
Now that just put me on my mission of getting history, getting people to learn their family history, getting people to understand that we built this country, getting people to know that they need to be involved. That's just going to spark my fire. But I appreciate so much that she, as a representative of people, wanted to literally do something for people. Now that's the kind of person that I want to donate to, I want to support, and I want to, because she literally did not know me from a can of paint.
Yeah, no. It was just
genuine, and you will know your vibe is your tribe, right? So you go out there. I'm always disappointed that there's not more people out there, and I'm always upset when I can't make it out there because I feel like if you guys only knew how powerful that is, even when there's 12 people out there, let me tell you how nervous they are. They sent the biggest cop. Like, I don't even know.
The big man?
It felt like they made this person, okay? The biggest cop in Georgia.
Yeah.
With long guns.
Yes. Wow. It was 4 of us one day, and they did that.
Women.
Y'all met Hannah?
Women.
Y'all met Hannah? Me, Hannah, Britt, and Emmy, our photographer.
Yeah.
That was it. Emerald. That was it. All 4 of us, they had AKs out there. They blocked us in. It's like, you're so scared. Like, we don't understand the power that we have.
Right.
Till you get out there and you see it on their faces like, oh shit, they're going to do something.
Yeah, and it's not like they really are intimidated because there's nothing about what's going on there that makes you think no one had a gun.
Right. They had a bullhorn.
They had a bullhorn and the power of 1 million ancestors. That's what they had, basically. But it's just, guys, you gotta find out about your local representation. Make sure that the bill that I really want to talk about with y'all next is the Justice and Policing Act, the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. This week, what's the cop's name? I don't even know. I don't remember. Forget him. We don't.
The murderer, George Floyd.
The murderer. He was sentenced to 22 and a half years. You guys were good with that? Were you okay with that?
Blackmond gets sentenced to more for stealing $9.
Yeah, I was about to say the same sentiment. It's kind of like, of course, I think in this country, we're always happy to just get the little bit that we get. But it's kind of like, we know the system is broken and why it's broken. But
we kind of just are like, you and I.
I mean, me personally, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I'm not. I feel like we get to a point to where we're never satisfied.
Right.
We're never satisfied with nothing. Like, me and Kim was even talking, like, even the other day, and it's kind of like off topic in a sense, but I don't know if y'all heard about the IKEA situation. When they was giving them the food, it's just like, you eat that on the regular. You eat that on your own
that
time.
was a lot.
But I feel like, I feel like justice was served in a sense. Like if it
There
was
was
anything,
accountability.
if
There
it was
was.
anything under 10, I would have had a problem with it.
Right.
Yeah.
But as I was telling Kim, Chauvin, the cop, he was, I thought he was a first time offender or whatever. I thought he didn't have no record.
No.
So I'm like, okay, man, okay, that they can't really go too hard on him because he's a first time offender. But I mean, me personally, I feel like that's more than enough time. 22 years, like in jail.
Considering that Amber Geiger, the woman, the cop,
That's what made me-
the
that's what
murderer
made me
in
think
Dallas,
She didn't get
walked
much.
into Botham Jean's apartment and shot him while he was eating ice cream, and she got 10 years. I was okay with 22 years.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen him get like life in prison or whatever, but that's why we need to get the George Floyd
But I
Justice
see
and
22
Policing
years
Act.
as 15.
Yes, because he
Right.
can get
A lot
out
of
early
people
though,
don't-
can't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. He
A
can.
lot of people don't realize he's facing other charges also.
Yeah.
He's got
facing-
Fed charges,
Yeah,
which is
so-
why I think they kind of were
Kind
like,
of,
you're
yeah.
probably going to add more time
More,
with
yeah.
the Fed charges because
But
Fed
his
time.
appeal's strong.
But the Fed time might kind of like, because
He's
it's
gonna
hard
appeal
to
it.
do.
And he's definitely gonna appeal.
Yo,
it.
you
Because
can't.
that juror, Lord, that juror is the reason if a year from now Chauvin walks free, it's because that one Facebook picture of that Black Lives Matter shirt.
That
He
one
had on the Black
juror-
Lives Matter?
No, the juror. There's one
Oh,
juror.
so they gonna say like
that-
buy it?
Yeah, because one of the questions they ask you is, how do you feel about the movement? Are you biased? And he's on Facebook at some rally or participating in a rally, and he has on a shirt that says Black Lives Matter.
But my question is this: now with the jury, that person didn't volunteer to be the jury, did he? Like they didn't do their due diligence. That's not his fault. Like,
Well, they did when they asked him, and he said no, which
It's sticky.
Black Lives
You know what
Matter,
I'm saying?
the verb, or Black Lives Matter, the noun. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you could say Black Lives Matter and you could believe Black Lives Matter. Does that mean that you participate and contribute and belong to the group that is known as Black Lives Matter? Because I've never pledged
I
no
don't.
allegiance to none of them.
and that's just a general phrase.
Right,
like,
that's
at the
what I'm
end of the
saying.
day, like,
Right. Like-
this is some real sticky situations.
And
there
it's going to
because-
come down. to-
And that's one of the reasons I think we talked about that before. That's one of my biggest issues with the Black Lives Matter movement. Not saying I don't support it, but like the way that it can be used against the movement without it
Exactly.
being necessarily defined.
Yeah.
Stuff like this happens.
Because people think that because you're marching, you are a part of Black Lives Matter, because people have to compartmentalize things.
There's an organization,
Right.
and then there's the movement.
Right.
Right.
And people don't
And
understand
they don't
that.
care about
They
that.
don't understand. They don't care. They don't
It's-
want to know.
it's-
It's like black. Okay,
Yeah.
I've heard enough.
That's done. That's
I've heard
done.
enough. Black lives. Oh, hell no.
Not matter.
I don't want to hear nothing. Right, matter.
But the justice and that
The
act,
Justice in Policing Act.
the George Floyd.
We need that because
We need it.
What do you?
before we talk about it, because you break it down just for the people
Yeah, that's what I was
listening,
gonna
like,
say.
what's
What
in
do you
that?
know about the Justice in Policing Act? What it has in it? I'm
Yeah.
gonna look up some more, but
Yeah.
I know that qualified immunity,
Qualified immunity
it would
be
get rid of
revoked
that.
to a certain level. To a certain level.
Not
we would
altogether.
Still, not altogether. So we would still need states to do their jobs. It would take away the fact that police can sit in on their own interrogations. So if someone isn't being interrogated for what the police did to you, the police can sit in. It's going to take that away. It's going to take away stuff like chokeholds and excessive force, and it's going to put in like mental health aspects of it and how police need to react to certain situations. But it's a big bill, and we need it. But also, there's a lot of provisions in it that we're going to need the state. We do live in a federalized government, and when it comes down to things like qualified immunity, it's set to a certain level, right? Because right now the qualified immunity clause that the Supreme Court uses is that if it hasn't been established, that is the key word, established clause. So if I kill somebody, right, I'm a police officer, I kill somebody, and I didn't kill them in an exact manner that somebody else has killed and gotten sentenced to, I will get away. It takes that part away to a certain degree. It doesn't take it away all the way. It leaves it up to the states. There's a lot of holes in it. But as a blanket, we need it.
We need it.
We need it.
It also establishes a national database
Yes.
of police misconduct, which there is not one.
Yeah.
There are some private entities that have put together.
Yes.
They've been keeping track of police murders and stuff like that. You could look that up. But we need a national registry so that people can look and not go to the next town to get a job when they kill somebody.
Garrett Rolfe.
Yeah.
Right.
Right here.
Or Garrett Rolfe. He's had complaints. He's done this before. And that's my problem. In Atlanta, a lot of these police officers come from New Orleans. And they come from New York. And they come from Minneapolis and Louisville, who have killed or hurt people before. And they get hired again.
Here's a few other points of the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Prohibits federal and state and local law enforcement from racial, religious, and discriminatory profiling. Okay.
Until you change the curriculum, you're not changing it.
Mandate training on racial, religious, and discriminatory profiling for law enforcement. They definitely need that. Requires law enforcement to collect data on all investigatory activity. So everything that you do, we need to know what you did. It bans chokeholds. Carotid holds? What's that?
Carotid holds. So when you put pressure on the carotid artery, it bursts, and you die within 3 seconds.
Damn. Okay, at the federal level and conditions law enforcement funding for state and local governments banning chokeholds. So, if you've seen lately, the governors have put in place rules that if you do anything to defund the police, redirect funds to the police, they're not going to provide any funding from the federal government. It bans no-knock warrants in drug cases at the federal level and conditions law enforcement funding for state and local governments banning no chokehold warrants at the local and state level. Requires that deadly force be used only as a last resort. Requires officers to employ de-escalation techniques first. How many people would be alive if they were doing that now?
Definitely the 271 black men that were killed since 2017 alone.
Limits the transfer of military grade equipment to state and local law enforcement because for what reason they had no limit tanks outside the state capitol right after January 6th, and they started building a fence. Do you guys remember the tanks that were out there?
The fence is almost done.
Oh shit.
And it's funny because I can still walk inside that capitol. You can't stop me.
You can't, right.
It's my building. I pay for it.
Requires federal uniformed police officers to wear body cameras. Shout out to the family of Jamarian Robinson, Monteria Robinson. Ever since the murder of her son, Jamarian Robinson, Atlanta stopped participating in the federal rundown on people, basically, because the federal officers didn't wear body cameras and the Atlanta officers did. See how there's a disconnect.
So I always wear Jamarian stuff on my hand because that's like the case closest to me because I'm very close with Monteria. Those federal officers told outside. The last thing that's recorded on the body cam is turn your body cams off.
So they did that deliberately.
Yeah. 17 police officers with long range guns with flashbang grenades against a 150-pound 5'5" man who was surrendering because he did nothing wrong, by the way.
It's almost like, some of these cases are so crazy
and people don't
know about them.
And of course we know the reason behind that also. It's kind of like, it's almost sad how normalized a lot of this stuff has become because of course we all know Monteria. We know, what I'm saying, how much strength she showed, in her battle to get justice for her son.
Still fighting.
And even when I learned the details, because I met her 3 years ago, and like when I was just reading the details of the case, I was like, how do you get away with murdering a person like this? You know what I'm saying?
And then look at all the changes that have been made since, though. I mean, they've had a new police chief, they've had a new DA, they've had a new mayor, they've got like all these people that are just passing the torch, and saying that you handle it, you handle it, you handle it.
Fonnie Willis.
And that's the person who didn't dodge in the cases supposedly. Like it just kind of like, once again, like how can you look us in the face and not do your job?
Well, like, you can do whatever you want to do after they elect you.
Fonnie Willis looked at Monteria and said, "You knew your son had a mental condition." what are we supposed to do about this? Basically saying, I can't do anything. The fact that your son was shot 110 times and left with 76 bullet holes in his body, I'm not going to do anything because you knew your son had a mental condition. And Monterey has to wake up every single morning, get that picture of her son's autopsy body, and walk down the street.
And this is what I mean. Elections have consequences. God forbid that happens to anybody else. You see the attitude that Rayshard Brooks case is getting, Jamaria Robinson's case is getting, the Jimmy Atchison case is getting, and the countless, numerous other ones. These are just the ones that we know. These are the people that have come talk to us at the show that we keep up with. But proactive is better than reactive. So make sure when you're voting for people, they have a heart for the people, like the people we've been talking about. That is very important. Miss Fani, she wants to take on Donald Trump. So maybe that will get her on TV more. So maybe these cases aren't as glamorous and, as like she will be on all the national news for prosecuting Donald Trump. I don't know how far she's gotten with that. It seems like to me this is the Department of Justice is probably going to uncover a lot of shit when they do what they're doing. So, like, what is she doing? Because all this stuff is recorded. He called up and asked for them to find 11,700 or whatever votes. This is an open and shut case for the Department of Justice when they get to it.
But there's problems at home that need to be addressed.
But that's not going to get you on CNN or MSNBC or Fox, whatever. It's not going to get you.
You got to stop electing clout chasers to office.
That's what I need the takeaway from this episode to be.
But I think, because even what we were saying before the show, I think it was before the show, in a sense, and as bad as it sounds, you have to be a clout chaser for the simple fact that if they don't know who you are, like a lot of people, I think you were saying about uninformed voters being informed voters. Yeah. A lot of people go to the polls and then they vote for people. Oh, I saw that name before. I'm gonna vote for this person. I saw this name, and he's a Democrat, or if you're a Democrat, or they voting for parties first and foremost. Are they on this side? And then secondly,
who do I know
his name? Like you say, they don't know policies. So at the end of the day, in a sense, you have to be a clout chaser because people not reading your policy. Like, oh, I'm gonna vote for this person because A, B, C, D.
You gotta be a clout chaser. That's for the people, though.
Yeah, true.
The clout you need is from us. You need. The people that we've been talking about, we're talking about them and they're not here because we seen them work and they've been effective in the community and we see them on the ground running. They have earned clout from me.
But that's what I'm saying. I guess
we all have to combine our platforms. That's what I say.
Yeah, because it's not enough numbers.
People up.
Yeah, it's not enough numbers.
If me and Kim and Dom, like, we talk about, like, Shivy or Antonio or whatever, right? And we're like, yeah, he's a good person. But now if it's, like, 30,000 of us saying that's a good person, then it goes down the line and it's like, oh, like, somebody was talking about this. And then media picks it up. And then everything picks it up. But I feel like we're not coming together for these people.
We don't realize, like, I always tell people, like, we get caught up in waves. When we don't realize it's an ocean out here. Like, you know what I'm saying? We get so focused on what's cool right now, and that's ideally, like, I hate to keep bringing his name up, but ideally that's how Donald Trump won the presidency. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because it was popular, it was controversial. Yeah. It was, yes.
You know what I'm saying? And it's sad that you know what I'm saying? And that's why I tell people it's easier to be a villain. You know what I'm saying? Because like, people love, like, negativity. Like, if it's a fight on TV or, like, if it's something, you know what I'm saying, bad happening, like, all the eyes go towards that. Like, it's people out here building homeless shelters and feeding the hungry. They don't get the TV time that they deserve, you know what I'm saying, just because we've been defaulted in society to
gravitate toward negativity. But this is why we just don't need voters. We need voters, but we need educated voters. We need you to use your ballot in the most powerful way, in the most effective way possible. It's great that you have a ballot. It's dangerous if you have a ballot and you don't know what to do with it.
You know what's funny? That only 30% of voters vote down the ballot.
So that means
I believe it.
The majority of people vote for
The
the
top person.
presidential
Yeah.
election.
Yeah.
Or the mayor.
And they
or
know
whatever.
that too, because a part of the voter purge that we were
Yeah.
talking about earlier is the fact that you haven't voted recently, which I believe the threshold is like 4 to 7 years. So if you voted in the presidential election, like when Obama won, you are purged. Forget it. Like, you need to go check on your voter registration. You need to make sure you're still on the roll, because guess what? They'll take you off if you are not an active voter.
Now I heard about the
counting on it. They're counting on you
to not care.
Yeah,
Now how hard is it to re-register? Because
It's not hard, but
Okay.
people don't like. A lot of people, especially like the younger generation, they get registered when they get a driver's license, right? So they haven't voted since Obama. Now they're purged. No one thinks about, I have to go to the Secretary of State's website, put in all my information again, and do it, because it's that lack of knowledge. So if you have been purged, all you gotta do is go back and do it. But it's that act of checking it
And then your
hard.
address might be wrong. I gotta tell you, voting is so powerful, but you gotta stay on top of it. Like your driver's license, you gotta stay on top of it. You gotta stay on top of your voter registration. You think, hey, they should be making it easier for me to do it because I don't have to do it. So I should be able to go online, click something, vote, get whatever I need to vote. No, they're putting all this stuff in place because they know you don't want to really vote anyway. So if you have one hurdle to jump, you're just gonna say forget
I think
it.
that's where people like us, these conversations come in place. Because again,
Absolutely.
voting for a lot of people, like for the general public, that's not top of mind. Like that's not
No.
top of mind thing. Like you say, they only voting for in the main election, the presidential election, and then they're only voting for presidents. Like, so I think we just, instead of like, I feel like a lot of things with like voting, even sometimes with like religion, I feel like people shame you for not knowing. So it's just
But
like
you gotta educate.
Huh?
People gotta educate.
Yeah, but the people that has the information has to educate the people. It's like, watch, if I feel shame, it's
You're
like
not even gonna ask.
I'm
You
not
don't
even
wanna
gonna
ask
try
a
to
dumb
inform. I'm gonna
question,
just be
right.
like, whatever. Like I'm gonna just, that's just like in school. Like, people scared to raise their hand to ask the question because you're gonna get shamed for it. And I think we got to get out of that, shaming people for not
like
knowing stuff.
atmosphere that's like
Yeah.
Welcoming.
Yeah.
That's dope. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, well,
But I think we do that. I think we try
I
our
think we
best to
do
do
a
that,
good
giving out
job trying to
information
get
here,
the
yeah.
information out. Mina does a great job. If you follow her on Instagram, she'll give you all her information at the end of the show. But she always posts stuff, about the movement. She posts stuff that elections that are going on, information that will help you, make a smart decision about who to vote for. If you need to know when the next protest is and you want to show up, you can look on her page for stuff like that. I try to share it on our page as much as possible. But we gotta get, y'all, do you know, and you really gotta go there to see how deliberate this stuff is.
You gotta get in the weeds of it.
When you get down there and you see those representatives walking in and out of the Gold Dome, and some of them, they work for people. They don't even have the courtesy to come over and see, well, what's going on? Let me ask a few questions. Some of them do. They have a badge on so you can write their name down. Who cares? Who's concerned? Who wants to see what the people have to say? Those are the people that have, we could ignore this stuff as long as we want to, but it's gonna come back and bite you in the ass in any form or fashion. One of these laws is gonna fuck you up. One of these taxes is gonna fuck you up. Something.
Yeah.
You have got to understand, these people just don't want to make it inconvenient for you. They wanted you to die.
They take your vote, they take your life.
If you don't have the power to decide who's in charge of your life, it's like going back into slavery.
It is. That's why we called it Jim Crow 2.0. That's why like all these
I don't know
laws-
if people, you know what, Mina?
Oh God.
When people say Jim Crow 2.0,
Jim Crow
it
was
doesn't
never-
mean anything to people that don't know what Jim Crow initially was in the
Yeah.
first place. So stay with me for 1 minute on what Jim Crow laws were.
Yeah, go ahead.
You could not vote, black people. When you were finally given the right to vote, you had to take a test. You had to prove this. You had to prove that. And they could just start a rumor.
Right.
oh, if you go down there, they hanging people for going down there, and people just wouldn't go.
Yeah, fear tactics, literacy tactics.
Fear tactics, intimidation, and lies. Same thing we see going on now. And it's all because there's too many black people now. There's too many brown people now.
Yeah.
There's too much diversity. Oh, we're going to lose control. What can we do? The woke movement, which basically just means people are becoming more aware of what you guys are doing.
It's like I always say, everything's interlaced, right? Voting's connected to this, it's connected to this, connected to gun violence, connected to crime, connected to abortions. So when I have a shirt that says I stand with Planned Parenthood, right? And I went on someone's live and I didn't realize I had the shirt on. So everybody starts like attacking me and they're like, well, Planned Parenthood was founded by someone in the Ku Klux Klan. And I was like, okay, but why do you think that they're trying to make abortions illegal now? Because the highest demographic that gets abortions are white women. If white women start producing more white babies, white people will be more in control because there will be more of them. Right now, by 2035, America will no longer be a white majority country, and that is scaring them. If we say that you can't get water at the polling station and it's hot in Arizona in November or in primaries in June, you're not going to go out to vote. If we make the line so long that you have to stand for 8 hours, you're not going to do it. It's tactics. It goes down into the weeds of it.
Another issue that they pretend to care so deeply about, and I don't buy it one bit, is the border.
Once again, scare tactics.
Because if you are telling them to build a wall so that the people don't come, why are you concerned with the conditions they have when they get here? You didn't even want them here in the first place. So it's like when you invite somebody to your house, they get treated differently than someone that just shows up. So if you guys were really that concerned about what was going on at the border, you would either A, not put money into building a wall, or B, put money into making it more comfortable for them when they get here, or try to find their family, or whatever you're going to do. But you can't do both.
Or C, stop going into other countries and destabilizing them to the fact that they won't have to come here.
That's another thing.
And it's the problems that they pick and choose, right?
Right.
Are
So it's all bullshit.
see-through.
It's all bullshit.
Taxes, federal regulation. Okay, you didn't pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, 4 days ago?
Okay.
After they unanimously voted to pass Juneteenth.
So the John Lewis Voting Rights Act,
For the People Act.
the For the People Act, the Voting Rights Act was in the 60s. The For the People Act did not pass.
Not one Republican voted for it.
Not one.
Not one. And you know how easily that could have been done? Joe Biden signs an executive order, which ends the filibuster. You go in, it's a 51-50 majority, you win.
So right now the filibuster is, there has to be a majority vote for it to pass. So that means instead of 50-50, it has to be 60-40. 40. That's what the filibuster is, right?
And it was made in Jim Crow
It
era.
was made in the Jim Crow era.
It's always something like it's the goalposts always get moved. Like again, like even with Biden, you make all these promises and now you can't do nothing.
Because
like,
the Democrats, they're pissing me off because it's like they're still trying to negotiate with people that are hell bent on not negotiating. They went on record saying the only thing they want to do is stop the Democrats and every policy that comes across that is
That's
sponsored
why the
by.
filibuster is now there.
But they need to enact it, and they're gonna piss a lot of people off because we need this. Can we talk about the Voting Rights Act real quick? What do you guys know about it? Not the, what am I saying?
The For the People?
The For the People Act.
The For the People Act, yeah. So their biggest problem is that it's gonna take federal government and give them a little too much overreach, right? But let's take SB 202. SB 202 said that local governments, that the Secretary of State can take power of elections from local governments at any time. For the People Act says they can't do that. If SB 202 was written when after the For the People Act was passed, they would have to submit that to the Department of Justice. They would correlate it with the Constitution. They would say, this is unconstitutional, you can't pass it. So now the states are like, I can't do this anymore. But not only does it do that, it takes away big money out of elections. There's a lot of the times you have hidden agendas behind people's campaign finances. So now that you look into like Fonnie Willis, she was backed by the police union so much, so why would she go in and prosecute the police?
Or vote to have defund the police.
Yeah, that has to be public with the For the People
Or why
Act.
would she go on record convicting cops that killed Rayshard Brooks when she's right? So that's all these elections have consequences. Go ahead.
Election reform. Not only that does it take money out of it, but it also says that you can't limit absentee ballots. You can't make a drop box somewhere where it's only 9 to 5 entrance if I live there. You can't end Sunday voting. You have to put in 3 more weekends of voting. So now it's like you have to do all that stuff. But now they're scared, like, oh, well, you know who votes the most on Sundays? Them black people.
Because
Let's not do it.
Do you guys remember Souls to the Polls?
Yeah.
Souls to the Polls was a outreach where a lot of black people got together on Sunday after church, and they all went and voted. And that accounted for a large majority.
Yeah, 65% of
and they
black
made
voters.
it a thing. Souls to the Polls was a whole movement. So now they're restricting votes on Sunday. And that's why the Department of Justice is saying this is deliberate.
Yeah. You're telling me if black people vote on Sundays, let's cut Sunday voting. And you know Kimberly Jones, I learned so much.
I love Kimberly.
I love her. She's
that's
like,
another person I followed her one day. Like, Kimberly, talk to me more, because she's very, very knowledgeable.
She's very blatant about it, right? She said, first off, she was like, if your vote didn't matter, they wouldn't be trying so hard to suppress it, right? 48 states, 48 pieces of legislation. But 2, if I am working a 9 to 5 job, I can go and drop my ballot off when I get off work. But if I'm working 3 jobs that pays me $7.50 an hour, and I'm working them back to back, I get home at 12. So I'm like, okay, let me go drop my ballot off. I can't do that then, but the next morning I'm too tired to wake up. Now it's taking that away. But most of the minimum wage jobs, low income jobs in cities specifically, are black people. That's who hold those jobs. So when you take that away, now they can't vote.
But they know that.
And that's why they're doing it.
And that's why they're doing it.
It's simple. It's very deliberate. It's very intentional. Every piece of legislation that they have passed, you can look into it and see how they're trying to turn back the time.
And we don't have that much time. We need to get this passed now. Because the elections next year are going to sway the House and the Senate. And they can get the majority again.
And they already said it. They were like, if we get the majority, we ain't doing it.
And that's the game plan. Like, we have to realize that, once again, the majority is at stake. And I think we talked about this on the podcast when Biden and VP Harris won the presidency. Like, we don't have time to keep cutting people slack. We don't have time to keep waiting on them to get it right. It's like,
you got to do it now.
You got to do it now.
So they're looking at another outreach and people in the street screaming and hollering to pass this, because this is like,
I mean, it would take one executive order for this to pass. Sign an executive order in the filibuster, get it passed.
So I think that's what they're going to do.
They have to.
I hope so, because, like, once again, it's kind of like we're past the point of return. Like, you know what I'm saying? In politics, you're going to make somebody mad. Like, you can't make everybody happy.
Might as well make the racists mad.
Yeah, so
because that's what people were so mad at Obama about, right? Because he didn't go in there with his fist up and say Black Power and sign all these executive orders that were going to help the black people.
Man, we it's just frustrating to me, because we continue to see this cycle of our votes don't really, like, as black people, I don't say it don't matter, but they're not doing what we need them to do. So is politics our only solution? Is that our only solution? Is that the only thing we can rely on to get what we need?
I'm gonna say what I always say on the street. You know somebody who is very knowledgeable and is for the people, get them to run. Because we're constantly choosing between worse and worse, right?
But not to cut you out, I feel like, even you say get them to run.
Yeah.
I feel like that we've been trying to, like, this person, they gonna tell you everything you want.
I'm not saying like Biden or like any of these.
But I'm saying even the local people, because even when so-called Keisha got in office, everybody was on Keisha's side and this and that. Everybody was on Obama's side, and now, he didn't do nothing. So what is the solution? Like, these people are gonna tell you what you want to hear until they get in office, and then they're not going. We see it.
We need to flood. So I think it's a very like I get what you mean. Like a very like they might not.
frustrating.
It's
We-
frustrating.
As
It
the
is very
people, we know all the solutions, but the people that's supposed to be experts, they're
yeah.
not doing what they need to
So
do.
the reason why I stress like local races so much is because you know them, right? Like you know Shivy, you know Antonio, you know Antonio Lewis, I know Liliana, we know these people, right? But if we flood these places of power with people who we know are true to the people, then they don't have a choice to actually do what we need to do.
This wouldn't even be an issue. Let me tell you something. This wouldn't even be an issue if they weren't out there for 30 days straight. If you open the Atlanta Journal-Constitution right now and you look up the articles that talk about this John Lewis for the people, because I keep saying Voting Rights Act because that's to me.
That's actually another one. They have it two now. So there's a John Lewis one, and then there's a
Okay,
for the
that's
people.
why.
That's why.
If you look that up, it's gonna show Mina, it's gonna show Queen, it's gonna show a bunch of people that were sitting out there for 30 days because that's what the people want. And what the people want, the representatives are supposed to represent. So I understand what you're saying.
So it's basically like it's just a never.
You gotta hold them. It's a never-ending thing.
It's a never-ending fight of putting out fires. You're gonna be putting out fires. You're gonna always have something.
Because you're never gonna have equality on a land that was not created for you to live equally on. So you're gonna have to fight tooth and nail for everything you have because they don't want you to have shit. The idea is for you not to have shit.
But I'm saying we didn't fall. Sorry, Dom.
Ideally, I'm following my guy here. I'm kind of following Jay Black in my mindset. Like I've always said that, like politics is a necessary evil. Like you can't not participate in politics. Like it'll make you participate in it, whether you realize it or not. But at the same time, I feel like we do have to have a full compass plan that includes politics to have a full spectrum healthy community because we're lacking in so many ways.
Yeah.
So we do need the politicians
But
to do
also,
their job. Voting is important.
We
but
need
we also
that.
need the economic side. We need the small business. But it all feeds together. So I always tell people it's a circle, and when one part is not healthy, it affects all the other parts. And so that's why I say I kind of can't, you know what I'm saying, you both are right.
No, I agree with you 100%.
But one of these acts, there's money that they earmarked for community resources.
Mm-hmm.
They earmarked $536 billion during last summer.
Billion.
Billion.
Wow. With a B.
And only 300 million have made it to the people.
That's what I'm saying.
But my thing is this: like we keep like like you say, it's always gonna be something. So what is a different solution? Like politics is not the solution. So we have to find. I'm about finding a solution. It's not
Yeah.
It's
I'm
not
gonna give you a solution.
the end all be all.
I'm gonna give you a solution.
What's the solution?
So y'all met Scotty, right?
Yeah.
Scotty Smart.
Scotty's been here too.
Yeah, Scotty
Scotty
Smart.
is another name that you see in the paper.
Yeah, Scotty.
Yeah.
So me and Scotty were talking Thursday, and he was like, "We have the power of the people that we know to take this city over in 10 years." But not only from a political side, from an economic side. Right. So if black dollars, there's 1.3 trillion black dollars in circulation.
I wish I had something to. Can I make a
like? You're a winner.
Exactly. Like.
But it's funny
stop
that
spending your money on shit and on people and on places that don't.
We know that. We know that. Like we're not doing that though. We know all the answers.
I think we are. I think we don't give ourselves enough credit because I always tell people like. We see stuff happening in real time. Like the struggles that our parents had, like my parents are, you know what I'm saying, 50, almost 60. Like the things they were going through were totally different than what we're going through today.
Now.
But they progressed us to a certain point. And I feel like, especially like we're in a time frame where with technology, stuff is almost like in hyperdrive and we're seeing stuff happen very rapidly.
Right.
But in the whole scheme of things, we have to realize we're preparing for the days that, you know what I'm saying, the fights we're going through now, not even for us anymore in a sense. They are in a sense, but we're not going to see
our kids are probably going to see the benefits of what's going on now.
The benefits of Martin Luther King.
Right.
Somebody's going to reap our benefits.
I mean,
so that's why I said we have to give ourselves more
people
credit.
say that, People say that, but I'm with you. Like, people say that and we get frustrated. Everybody. How do you think we felt when they passed the shit and they were standing out there for 30 days? People were donating pizza. We were sharing blankets. We were holding each other under umbrellas.
As soon as they passed it, we took
and that's the mindset
straight to
you
Fulton
have to
County
have.
Jail.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a J. Cole track, and like, you know what I'm saying? He had Jay-Z on it, like, you know what I'm saying, in 1990s. Like, it's probably a kid out here listening to me that's going to be 10 times better than me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
but we say that it's taken a long time, and we've been marching, but if you think about it, the civil rights movement was just 50 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And that's a long time, but it's not a long
it's
time.
not.
Like,
That
you know
my father graduated from high school in 1965.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, we're in hyperspeed because of technology.
Because of tech, so it seems like, okay, we got to do something new. No, we still need to make sure that we're represented. These people work for you. Like, how you gonna get tired of making people that work for you do what the fuck they're supposed to do? They are for you. You pay their salary.
Yeah, I think when we were somewhere, I think it was the Signy Die Day, and Park had just come back, and, you know, we escorted her in, and it was this big thing, and somebody was like, why are you doing this? Like, why do you do this? And I'm like, because last summer I was sprayed with rubber bullets, right? I don't want my kid to be for this to happen to my kid. So I'll be out here, and, you know, if it takes everything, it takes everything. But we can mix politics.
Look how many people died. Look how many people got bit by dogs. Look how many people got sprayed down with hoses. Yeah. We live where that happened at.
Yeah, we do. And when people say last year was like the resurrection of the civil rights movement, it wasn't. The civil rights movement in Atlanta specifically never ended. Right. You go back to 2000, you go back to Rodney King, you go back further than that. It has always been happening, but now there's a light on it because of social media. So if we bring politics in, right, we bring the economy in. You stop spending your dollars, what was it, 5 days that people didn't drink Coke, and Coke suddenly was like, oh no, voting rights matter real quick. Like, thank you. We have
but if you don't know,
that's why I say, and that's why I say, like, we know, like, when I say what's the solution, we know it, at the end of the day, it's money. It's green, like, it's green. Like,
it is.
People don't see color, they see green. The people at the top, they see green.
Yeah.
If I got enough money,
don't fund your oppression.
If I got enough money, I can go talk to Jeff Bezos right now.
Yeah.
I'm in that conversation
you
with
can go to space
it's
with
all
him.
about money. Like, it's all about money. As bad as it,
it's all about money.
I think people got that negative connotation with money. People look at money as a bad thing.
No,
and it's just
money
about
is
how you look at it.
Even right now, all these people that we were talking about that are running, I hope you guys look them up, write their names down, because you have to contribute to these people's campaign. Okay, maybe you don't need to spend $50 on a can of beer at the club Saturday night because you want to still make sure you have a club to go to. So let me contribute $25 to the city council. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like Jay Black said, it's all about your money. Your money is your power. Your Instagram likes.
In the United States, anyway, you know, money is power in the United States.
Your attention and your money.
Yeah.
You follow those people on Instagram that I named, follow them on Twitter, retweet, send them $5, make a phone call for them, canvas for them. If there's a bill that's about to be passed that you need them to pass it, show the fuck up. Show up at the door. You have every right to talk to these people that anyone else does. When you go to that Capitol and you're just minding your business and you're out there protesting, guess what you see? You see Miss Lillian and Miss Diana with their purses and their poodles going to talk to their city council representative.
They are.
They have no shame. They have no hesitation. They walk right up in there and they say, I want to talk to my state representative. And you know what? They make them an appointment, or they show up and they talk to them, or they send somebody out to hear what they have to say, because they know that's what they're supposed to be doing. But it's just like we have this thing where we grew up in an era, well, me, because I'm way older than all of y'all, but I grew up in an era where we created our own economic system and our own politics and our own thing with the crack era. We didn't have to pay taxes. We didn't do anything. We had our own community. The money got circulated around. Yep. And now there's a bunch of 40-year-olds walking around that don't know what the fuck is going on.
But I think, how long ago was segregation?
We'll say roughly the 1950s, 60s.
So, I mean, you got to think about that, too. Like
60 years.
The people that's like, even on the white side, like you just said, the girl with the, like the people that's going to these, the
they
white
didn't
people
go
that,
through Jim
hold on,
Crow.
no, the white people that's going to these meetings and demanding things, they're older white people. our older white people, our older black people that's their age, we were segregated. Politics wasn't a thing for us.
We felt like we were pushed
So it's
out.
like,
That's
you
what
can't-
Jim Crow did to generations of people.
Yeah.
Jim Crow intimidated a whole generation of people so that they wouldn't feel like they belong, so they wouldn't feel like they
So
had
that's
a
what I'm
voice.
saying. We have to find
We
a
gotta
different
get
way.
out of
Like
that.
I think we trying to.
And
I feel like we try to find. Like I think black people, we try to follow the white blueprint,
Yes.
and that's the problem. Like that's the
Yes.
problem. Like,
Yes.
But the thing about now that I love about these young kids, they don't give a
We
care
don't-
about
yeah,
none of
like-
that. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so that's one of the discrepancies you see right now that's going on, like between the really, really older generation and the really, really younger. They just be way two different languages.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like we stuck in the middle, like, everybody wait, like, we can work through
Calm
this.
down,
like,
calm
you
down,
know
calm
what
down.
I'm
Right,
saying?
Hold on.
Right.
Like, right.
Right, even when you go to the protest, you see the older ladies, you know, and they'll
Like, it real, like.
the older ladies, you know, they'll come and they'll say what they have to say, and they just sit. And then you see the younger people, and they're just like, "Nuck if you buck, like come out here."
Okay,
talk
that
to
was
us."
definitely the theme song. So
That
let's
was the theme.
not
Look,
go there.
that was the theme. Look, don't play it because we'll get crunk.
But it's the fact that we have power, right? We have $1.3 trillion worth of power. But also, we have these politicians that unfortunately do make decisions that affect us. So when we say you're about to lose your job, that
You about to lose your job.
Hey,
see, I try not to say that because
it's a trigger.
it
It's a
is.
trigger.
It is starting music, but
Okay.
when that happens, you have to not only take their job away, but put people into office. You can't fund your oppression. And then there's a guy in the state capitol, I forgot his name. I walked up to him because John Lewis was supposed to get a statue at the state capitol. And he looked me dead in the eye and he said, John Lewis did nothing for this country. He was a nobody, and I don't fuck with him.
Wow.
This man is
We gotta
80.
find his name out. We can't forget.
Oh, I got his name on Instagram. I got you.
But you know the thing about that, like that's just he's trying to trigger you.
No, yeah,
Just
but
like
he's
when they say
also
nigga, like,
84 years old.
He's
Right.
trying to
So there's a
trigger you.
whole
He came
generation.
into office when segregation was a thing, and he's been in office for that long. So how can you expect them to
Because
make
look,
policies?
this is the thing. This is the thing. I need people to look at this as from a high point view, because there's only X amount of seats.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to look at it as a game, and you need your representative to be on this board because the majority is going to win. So you need to think, okay, there's 100 and something counties in Georgia, but like 100 of them probably are going to have that kind of person as a representative. So you got to make sure that the representation that you need shows up at these places.
Where we messed up, and I'm gonna say we messed up last year, was we focused on Biden, and we lost 25 seats in that house. Now it's a supermajority. This bill would have never passed if those people, we had went as hard for them as we did for Joe Biden.
Or Ossoff and
Ossoff and Warnock.
Warnock.
While federal government is good.
We have so if people that don't understand, Georgia is blue on a federal level. Georgia is still red
Ruby
on a state
red.
level.
Yeah.
So
Ruby
when
red.
the state laws come into play, Brian Kemp has a whole army, and that's why he was able to do what he did in a room full of white men with the optics of a plantation behind him,
Yes.
because they are sending a clear signal.
It is, we don't have the power, right now the power is in their hands. But also, we also have 498 days till election day in 2022. So what my next goal is I'm building a coalition of people, Scotty, you, and I'm going to start reaching out to people in different parts of Georgia, right? Not just in Atlanta, because as Atlanta, we live in a bubble.
We're a blue
We're-
bubble in a red state.
We're a bubble, and we don't realize how bad this state is till you get out and you go to Athens and you pass through a sundown.
Or Greene County.
There you go. I mean, hell, you even go up to Cobb County, you see how bad it is. So we live in a bubble.
know.
So
We live in Cobb
Yeah, we
County.
live in Cobb, so we laughing. Like, yeah, that's true.
see, I got in a wreck in Cobb County this week, and the way I was scared to call that police.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
should, yeah.
Yeah, Austell? No. But we live in a bubble. So what we need to do is, I'm originally from Augusta. I'm not from Atlanta. I moved to Atlanta in 6-7 years ago. But I'm from Augusta, right? And Augusta's a small bubble too.
Yeah.
Then you have Savannah, that's a small bubble. But all these cities around it, they
Are
are
red.
very red. So, but there are liberal people out there. There are progressive people. There are pro-black people out there.
We just got to reach them.
Yeah.
We got to reach them, and that's my problem with the north of America, northern America, and when they talk about southern America, it's like, well, all of them are just like rednecks, blah 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 blah, and they are just racist. No,
Like, have you been to Ohio?
like
Pennsylvania.
like no, it's not. There are people here that are working harder for
Right.
liberation than you are in New York City, because we're in the heat of it, right? New York City, they couldn't even get a bill like this would never be in the New York legislature. But we have been disenfranchised for so long that we're set back. So we're playing catch up, but no one is helping.
Because I need people that moved here, specifically from New York, New Jersey,
Leave.
Connecticut. No. I need y'all to get involved in politics.
Right.
I need y'all to get more involved in local politics, because like you said, half of the stuff that goes on here would never go on back there.
Yeah.
But you moved to Georgia because you got a big house and you got a garage, but you don't know that the government is working to fuck you up at
Every day.
every day.
Every
You know what I
day.
mean? So you gotta not just move down south because you have more property when you don't know if the government is working behind your back to try to get you out of there.
Yeah. And we have to have a mix of economic, political, and educational.
Period.
Education is a way to liberation. That's
Absolutely.
it. We cannot become liberated without educating people, because people don't know. And that is because of the gaps that were set because of slavery and because of segregation and Jim Crow.
And we see them working even harder now with when you hear people talk about critical race theory to try to keep people from knowing. We could go on for days and nights here.
We could.
But we're going to wrap it up soon. What do you think is going to come of District, is it 14 or 7 where Marjorie Taylor Greene is?
So personally, I've messed with Marjorie myself when I worked in the gun violence prevention movement.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I've messed with her personally, and y'all think Trump is bad.
Yeah, she's
Marjorie
dangerous.
is worse. Like,
She's
she has
dangerous.
the 3%ers on speed dial. Like, if you go to that district, she will have people literally pistol whip you in the park and leave you there.
The only reason why she's in that seat is because she intimidated the guy
Yeah.
that was running against her so bad that he quit.
He literally left the state. Like, the 3%er showed up at his house and was like, "I'm gonna kill your wife if you don't drop out of this race."
So we need to get the people in that district to wake the hell up and try
Yes.
to get rid of her.
And that's why I'm trying to build this coalition of
Well,
different people.
we're
around
gonna
the city.
stay on top of that. Let us know how we can help,
Of
how we can
course.
get the word out. Tell people where they can follow you at on social media.
Yes. My personal Instagram is Mina on the ground. Mina on the ground. And then my organization's name is Voice of the People. It's a lobbying firm, but it also teaches people about different topics like voting rights and critical race theory and everything. That's Voice of the People GA. So you can follow Voice of the People Georgia and Mina on the ground.
What's next for you? Do you think you'll run? Because I'm voting for you already.
I don't have the how do you say it? The
Backing?
no, the backing is not the problem. The composure.
Composure, yeah.
Of
Yeah, she
not
just
losing.
okay. Mina is very composed right now.
I
If
think
you
that's-
see her in action, this is not who you're gonna see.
That's
This is
also
You see how my hands are like?
yeah.
I
This
think
is
we
not
gotta
who you're
change that
gonna
narrative
see.
in politics, because
'Cause Trump wasn't composed at all.
Everybody doesn't have to stay composed in politics. Only certain people. So that's why I like seeing the AOCs, and not necessarily because I always agree with
AOC's
them,
like
but
I'm on
I love them because they're pushing those boundaries of women in politics, of you know what I'm saying, black people in politics, and where we're supposed to keep a certain
Composure.
Yeah.
And we see these old white men arguing back and forth, like, you know what I'm saying, it's going out of style, and it's okay. Nobody says
Right.
anything.
You see them swinging on each other.
Yeah, and so we gotta, you know what I'm saying, that's why I love seeing younger people and people, you know what I'm saying, like being on the forefront, because it's kind of like,
Yes,
you're who
we're in
need.
good
Like,
hands. Yeah, you feel like we're in good hands.
I do. I feel like my personal mission is to find these people that I trust, right? And I was talking to Shivy the other day. I was like, the only reason I support you is because I trust you with my life. And I have trusted you with my life all last summer. That is the only reason why I'm here on your
because
campaign.
everyone has built a family connection.
Yeah.
You feel like, at any minute they could probably run over here with those guns and like beat the hell out of us.
Every day.
But we don't care. We're together.
Yeah.
Like it's that kind of,
and it's that thing. So I personally I don't think in like the next 5 years I'm running for office, but I am looking to find these people and then like build them up.
That's what it takes.
And build them up to go to that, so I can stay on the front lines with my bullhorn and just yell, because I think I find pleasure in that more.
It's very therapeutic. I tell them that all the time.
It is very therapeutic.
Yes.
Like, get it all out. And also, if you guys are free, Monday at 4:30, there is the first hearing for redistricting.
Oh my God.
That is going to be major, especially with the 2022 election coming up. They are trying to literally pit black candidates against each other by redrawing the redistricting lines.
District 6.
District 6, District 5, all these districts are going to be redrawn in a certain way where it's like Lucy McBath versus Nikema Williams. It'd be Erica versus Park Cannon. So that is like their tactic now, because they know, okay,
Redistricting, redlining, gerrymandering, where they
that would also be done by the For the People Act if that passed.
That would be outlawed
Yes.
in the For the People's Act if it passes, where they literally redraw the line of where the seats, like what would be considered District 6, they'll push it back further into Cobb County, or they'll push it further down into Fulton County, so that the people will have to. It's a mess.
It is. And I invite everybody we need to pack the room.
And where's this?
At the Georgia State Capitol room. You can follow Protect the Vote. Hannah at Hannah Joy TV. I'll be posting about it.
I'll
You guys
probably
will
post
post
about it.
it.
Yeah.
And I think that is like, we got to keep our foot on their necks, basically. Like, we can't let up at all, because they are trying every which way to not only disenfranchise you, but to make it easier to kill you. It's simple. That's what they're trying to do, because you don't have a say. They can pass something and
Put your life in jeopardy.
Put your life in jeopardy every single day. So yeah, come out. There's protests happening every weekend, actually, that I think a lot of people don't know about. Every weekend at Centennial Olympic Park, Justice for Georgia does a protest for the families. They get petitions. Come out there, support your local candidates. And yeah,
Donate, call, canvas.
Donate. Unfortunately, money is the biggest thing in politics. So donate as much money as you can. I would love to see a check for $2,800 come through, but if you don't want to donate that much, even $5 helps a lot.
Where they donating to? Like, is it a website?
Yeah, so these candidates' websites, you go and then it'll say a donate button or a chip in button. And
Each candidate website will have a donate button. B1, Shivy Brooks, Antonio Brown, just to name a few people that are running for city council and for Secretary of State. There's an Atlanta mayoral race coming up too, so stay with us. We're gonna have some of the candidates come through. We look forward to Shivy coming on the show. We're gonna get some people on here so we can talk about policy and agenda. Keep up with us. Follow us on Instagram at CTD_ATL. This is gonna be quite the year. And Mina, you have an open invitation. Also, one of our sponsors sent us some T-shirts, so take one.
Thank you.
And we will see you guys next week.
And
Peace.
before we go, I just want to say I appreciate you, for what you do, being on the grounds. You might
Yes.
not see me out there with a mere spirit.
Thank you.
He's in my pocket. Yeah, thank you again, Mina. I hope to see you coming up at some of these protests. I'm telling you, y'all, it's fun.
It is, honestly, like, protesting, like, people, think like, oh, like you gotta go out, and it's like, but honestly, like once you've gone out like twice, like you have a family out there, you go out, like we're like probably they get so confused when we're out there, because 1 minute we'll be cussing them out, and then the next minute we're like dancing to music, and then we turn the music off, and then we're cussing them out again, and it's just like a fun time. Like you get to be out there, but also you're making a change. Everybody
making a change, and it's therapeutic, and you get all your frustration out, and you get to yell at Brian Kemp and call him all kind of names.
You get to yell at everybody, and the good thing about our movement in Atlanta specifically that I love is there's no gatekeeping, right? In a lot of places, like I went to New York, and I went to DC, and I went to Louisville for Breonna Taylor's protest, and it's a lot about who's who. Only
who
they
are
get
you
the
with?
yeah, they only get the megaphone. Here, it's like Kim walks up, Don walks up. Y'all want the megaphone? Go ahead, say whatever the hell you want to, and just let it be known. And it's not only therapeutic, but it's a good way for you to let your emotions out. Like these people are fucking us over, and if you don't, then it's
let
simple.
them know.
Yeah.
Let them know.
Also, I would say follow Monteria Robinson.
Yes, follow Monteria Robinson. She's been on here. Check out one of the previous episodes on innovativeblackstation.com with Monteria Robinson and a few of the other families in the movement. And we will see you guys next week. Peace.